V2 PTE Academic. We are providing online PTE coaching and monthly practice test. You can also stay connected with us. Facebook, Instagram and Telegram. For more information visit our WhatsApp on given number. Subscribe our YouTube channel and press the bell icon for more updates.
Birds can be very impressive at imitation, which is another word for copying. When chicks are born, they hear sounds made by the other birds in their flock or their family, and they practice imitating those sounds until they sound just like the rest of their flock. There are lots of reasons that birds might need to know the sounds that other animals make. For one thing, birds in the wild are very social. They help out other members of their flock. The calls of different flocks of birds, even two different flocks of the same kind of bird, are all different from each other. It helps them to know who their family is by the familiar sounds they make. Some birds can even learn other animal calls that might scare away predators, so the birds don't get eaten. And being good at imitating shows that a bird is smart and has a good memory and strong muscles, which makes it more appealing to other birds in its flock. The birds that can copy human speech are especially talented imitators. Birds that learn to imitate humans come from two groups: parrots like African greys, cockatoos, and parakeets, and songbirds like minus, starlings, and even crows. They're such good imitators that sometimes they can even fool people. Some pet birds have escaped into the wild and taught the calls they learned from humans to the other birds in their new flock.
According to a study on the sleep habits of 400,000 Taiwanese adults, the risk of coronary heart disease is about the same in people who sleep less than 4 hours a night as it is in those who sleep more than 8 hours a night. Subjects who underslept had a 35% higher risk of heart disease, and people who overslept had a 34% increase. Another study, published in 2009, followed 276 subjects for 6 years and found that people who slept either less than 7 hours or more than 8 hours were at least twice as likely to develop type 2 diabetes or trouble tolerating glucose. And there's more. A 2013 study of about 54,000 adults over the age of 44 found links between too much sleep and increased rates of heart disease, diabetes, obesity, stroke, and mental health issues. In fact, the rates of coronary heart disease, diabetes, and stroke were even higher in people who overslept than in those who slept too little. So the links are there. Sleep correlates with all kinds of health problems. But it's hard to say whether too much sleep actually causes these issues. It's totally possible that oversleeping is actually a symptom of things like depression or heart disease, or that there's some other connection. Either way, consistently sleeping too much might be a bad sign.
But lowering your blood sugar after a meal is just about the only benefit of drinking apple cider vinegar. Research does suggest that acetic acid can slow down the accumulation of body fat and prevent metabolic disorders in mice and rats. But there's little evidence that it has the same effect on humans. In one weight loss experiment, 30 volunteers drank 2 tablespoons of either apple cider vinegar, malt vinegar, or a placebo drink twice a day for 2 months straight, and none of them lost weight. In an older study with a similar design, participants did lose weight, but only about 1/3 of a pound each week, which McDonald's says isn't much. But if not for weight loss, what about using cider vinegar to whiten your teeth?
I caution people against that.
That's because cider vinegar is an acid. In fact, most brands have a pH between 2 and 3, which is similar to stomach acid. So swishing it around in your mouth can over time wear down the enamel around your teeth, leaving them feeling rough to the touch and more susceptible to cavities and decay.
We make our countertops with quartz, our clothes with cotton, our windows with glass, and our streets with asphalt because water can't dissolve these materials. They're made mostly of molecules with no charged parts. It would be silly to build, say, windows out of something that can dissolve in water, like sugar, unless you're going to eat them. And lots of the substances that water does dissolve, like washable markers, are things we've engineered so that they can be washed away. We've also engineered versions that aren't dissolvable in water for where we don't want them to be washed away. By making sure water dissolves what we want it to, and only what we want it to, we've been able to adapt our lives to a world in which water dissolves so much stuff. We humans also literally adapted to a world in which water dissolves so much stuff. The outer layer of our skin is built in a way that makes it uncharged, and therefore undissolvable. And the membrane surrounding each of the cells inside us has a similar undissolvable layer. The only reason we humans exist at all on this watery planet, or that trees, fish, bacteria, or anything else exists, is that we evolved barriers that could keep water from dissolving us into goo. Any life forms that didn't were simply dead in the water.
In 2012, after reviewing the evidence, the American Medical Association released a major statement. Nightlight can disrupt your sleep cycle. However, for whatever reason, not many people have since been informed about it. So, here's the basics of what you need to know. When you're exposed to a significant amount of light, specifically of the blue wavelength, your body suppresses melatonin production to make you feel more awake. Normally, this evolutionary design works pretty well. With the coming of night and day, our melatonin levels waxes and wanes, giving us our circadian rhythm. However, since the invention of artificial lights, we're being exposed to more and more light at nighttime, and these effects can be pretty big. Here's what happens when you place participants in a room with similar brightness to your average household. This is where their melatonin levels would normally be if they were sleeping in a dark room, and here's their melatonin levels in that lit room. You can see the huge suppression of melatonin. And it doesn't take too much to see these effects either.